Your country's in big trouble.
Can I answer?
Wait a minute. No. You've done a lot of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not winning. You're not winning this. If you didn't have our military equipment, have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
In 3 days. I heard it from Putin. In 3 days. This is something
maybe
new.
Less.
In 2 weeks. Of course, yes.
It's going to be a very hard thing to do business like.
I think this might be the craziest moment of the Trump administration so far, and it will most likely be topped tomorrow or the day after. We're a month and 8 days in. Oh, they canceled the press conference? They canceled the press conference? Oh my God. Okay, well, sorry, I apologize. I didn't know they canceled the press conference. And Trump actually kicked them out. I knew they fought. I didn't realize he just got kicked. Oh my God, this literally just happened. I thought I was actually paying attention to what the oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Bro, what the hell? What the hell? What a crazy way to start the day. Holy moly. It's bedlam. It's bedlam. It's bedlam. It's bedlam. It's bedlam. So Trump meets Zelensky. Okay, Disney comes in. All right, he comes in. And for all intents and purposes, I'm going to set the stage for all of you. So this is supposed to be coming off the heels of weeks and weeks of Donald Trump calling Zelensky a dictator, saying he sucks, saying he ain't shit, saying Zelensky's got no bitches, constantly talking about how Zelensky's short, all this stuff. And in the process, there's also this mineral deal that's, being floated around where Trump is like, I'm going to take all your raw earth. I'm going to hit that earth raw. And it's weird because, we don't even know if there's a lot of minerals or whether or not they are even rare earth minerals. They're certainly raw, but I don't know if they're going to be rare earth minerals or not. And regardless, he's like, Trump is saying, I want the minerals because we gave you so many weapons. We gave you all of our old busted ass equipment. And that was like $300 billion. It's time to pay up, which is, pretty honest in terms of how American foreign policy normally works. But obviously, optically speaking, probably not a very good deal. It's probably kind of a raw deal for Ukraine, but it was always slated to be a raw deal regardless. But now after all of this, there's still this back and forth where, there's this suspicion where Donald Trump, dials it back and says no, did I call Zelensky a dictator yesterday or the other day or every single day since then? Ooh, was that me? I don't know. So that's basically the last thing that happened before this Zelensky conference was supposed to happen. He linked up with Keir Starmer, also known as Keir Stalin. He talked to Macron. Macron touched him in the leg, maybe even touched his heart. He's been talking to all the European heads while constantly talking about how he's going to tear the shit out of our European allies, right? But when he did the whole, did I do that thing? I thought to myself, okay, he's probably going to go back on this stuff. He's just playing hardball. He's going to give them more old weapons and tell them they can continue fighting or whatever until they just inevitably come to a ceasefire negotiation, a bargain, going along with the other side of the Brandonian policy. And boy, was I wrong. I didn't think that this would happen. Okay, I'll admit there is no IR interpretation for the way that Donald Trump operates. I'll say it. He has redefined the genre. All right, let's watch this. This is the full vid. Okay, this is the chaos.
Very close. So we've actually known each other for a long time. We've been dealing with each other for a long time and very well. We had a little negotiation spat, but that worked out great. I think for both countries. I think for the world, actually, beyond both countries. And we have something.
This isn't funny to me. I am too woke. Brother, there is virtually nothing we can do about American foreign policy decisions. It is not a democracy. Please make no mistake. There is no democratic process here. There is no morality here. I'm using this as an opportunity for everyone to recognize the reality. Recognize the reality. There is a reason why American foreign policy has left behind so many countries in rubble, which then turned those American weapons formerly used against American adversaries on America. how do you think 9/11 happened? Like, what do you think was 9/11? 9/11 is this is literally the precursory to 9/11, but this time happening in an Eastern European country. You remember that tweet from that one journalist who was like, I've been investigating this story for years and years, and he just tweeted it? That's how I feel. That's how I feel when I watch these things unfold. Because for years and years, I have been critical of American foreign policy for being so violent and so cruel and not even caring remotely about the humanity of the people that we just use like a dish rag, only to have those people understandably develop resentment towards us or even other allies, expressions of American empire, and then eventually turn around and turn the same weapons that we gave them on us. This is exactly what happened with Operation Cyclone. There's a reason why this meme exists, you know? The whole eventually they'll turn on you, the meme that I used on my blast off tweet as well. Okay, whether it be Manuel Noriega from U.S. Friend to Foe, whether it be Saddam Hussein, Osama bin Laden, Muammar Gaddafi, you know, this is how it works. That's why I always say, hey, listen, if you're leftist, you're right, just too early.
We're going to sign the agreement at the conference in the East Room in a little while, right after lunch. And we'll be having lunch together. We're also discussing some other things. And we appreciate everybody being here. It's somewhat of an exciting moment, but the really exciting moment is when they stop the shooting or we end up with a deal. And I think we're fairly close to getting that. And an honor to have you. And please, I'd like to say something.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. President. Thank you for your invitation. And really, I hope that this first document will be first step to real security guarantees for Ukraine, our people, our children. I really count on it. And of course, we count that America will not stop support. Really, for us, it's very important to support and to continue it. I want to discuss it with details further during our conversation, and of course the infrastructure or security guarantees, because for today I understand what Europe is ready to do, and of course I want to discuss with you what United States will be ready to do.
Look at this asshole, by the way. We know who this demon is, and we know who this demon is. He's just a brown noser. But this demon is still very much an old school American war hawk. 99 votes in the Senate, including Bernard Sanders, by the way. Remember, that's how uniparty American foreign policy is. He has an image to project. He has an image to maintain. And he's just sitting there being like, I really hope that this doesn't get out of hand because Donald Trump is a little crazy. And he's just sitting there, pants riding all the way up to his goddamn knees like a little boy.
In what situation they are and what the attitude of Russia to our prisoners. That, guys, just you before and after. And you see before and after, just you to understand. Now thousands of such guys, ladies and men, there, and that, so they don't eat, they beat them, and they, you know, so they do a lot of, you know, bad things.
By the way, I do want to mention something here, but like this is like Israel stuff that he's doing here, but these guys don't care. They don't care. You could show him like open graves from Bucha, and he would just look at it and be like, I don't care. You shouldn't have had people there ready to be invaded and killed. Like he just does not care. He is an animal. Do you still believe American foreign policy is uniparty? Yes. The broad strokes of American foreign policy is uniparty. However, Republicans are the accelerant. They come into power and they just pull it all the way. They just go crazy mode with it. The direction is still the same. Republicans just accelerate. And then Democrats, when they come into power, don't actually reverse that trajectory. There are very rare exceptions for this. But beyond like the denuclearization agreement with Iran that Barack Obama put in place, or normalizing relations with Cuba that Barack Obama also did, there are very few instances where the Democratic administration, Biden's administration, that came in after, for example, Trump's administration, Biden's administration did not actually reverse the trajectory of every single thing that the Trump admin had done prior, especially as it pertains to Israel, for example. This is open. Like, this is open in broad daylight. How does it not shock you when he's doing it? Yes, there's a big difference between trying to use a little leverage for a mineral deal, sitting down with Putin without Zelensky there. I think the goals are the same, but the method of execution matter. No, I agree with you. I don't disagree with you on that at all. I think optics when it comes to soft power and diplomacy are profoundly important. I think at the end of the day, the outcome was still the same for Ukraine. Having said that, however, the optics do matter, because if America does not even care about presenting itself as like a peacekeeping nation, then all of a sudden our European allies are going to look at that and go, oh my God, these guys are saying it. These guys are going to f us over. They've been f***ing us over, as a matter of fact. People are going to catch up to that reality. This is what I've been saying since day one, since Trump took office. His mismanagement on the Ukraine side of the bargain has been ridiculous. He could have Zelensky there at the table every day of the week. He doesn't have to undermine Zelensky at all. Whatever he says goes regardless. America holds all the cards in this equation. Having said that, however, he could just as easily bring Zelensky to the table in front of Vladimir Putin. The choice not to do so is important. It is definitely different than what Biden would have done if he ever actually wanted to put forth a ceasefire negotiation. He should have. That was my big problem with Biden's administration when it came to Israel and Gaza. That is exactly my big problem with the Biden administration when it came to Ukraine and Russia. A lot of people yelled at me at the time, but Ukraine had significantly more leverage in the initial phases of the invasion to actually put together a much more comprehensive and much better ceasefire proposal. And the Biden administration was not even remotely interested in it. It's not benefit of hindsight either, for the record, because it wasn't hindsight at the time I said it. And plenty of other people said it too. I'm fully on his side. I don't think he said anything was wrong, but do you feel like, given how important U.S. aid is to Ukraine, Zelensky should have acted differently, glazed Trump/USA more? There is nothing. I just tweeted about this, actually. Interesting question, but there is literally nothing Zelensky can do. Nothing in this equation that will stop Trump and his admin from humiliating him. Obviously, our proxies are always powerless in these circumstances, but the decorum is totally broken. No care for diplomacy. The end of American soft power. He literally glazed them at 11:30. 30 minutes ago, Zelensky still posted a tweet being like, "Thank you so much, Mr. America. Thank you so much, at POTUS, for kicking me out. It is okay. We love America." It does not matter. He was glazing him. He was glazing him the whole time. Look, this is basically the proverbial getting on your hands and knees and sucking Trump off. He said, "Thank you, America. Thank you for your support. Thank you for this visit. Thank you, POTUS, Congress, and the American people. Ukraine needs just and lasting peace, and we are working exactly for that." What do you think this is? This is after he got kicked out, bro. This is after he got kicked out. The reality of the matter is the power dynamic has always been this way. The difference here is Donald Trump is not even trying to maintain any sort of optical illusion that we are here, we're in it for defending Ukraine. We're in it for helping Ukraine. He's just actively saying, nope, not even a little bit. No more carrots, only sticks. Oh my God. Breaking. NBC reports that the U.S. State Department is ending support for Ukraine's power grid restoration. It is so insane. It is so insane. Are you pro-Ukraine regardless of this? Just curious. What do you mean pro-Ukraine regardless of this? I've always been pro-Ukraine. The Ukrainian people are the ones who are getting f***ed over no matter which way this goes. They're either going to get f***ed over by Russia or they're going to get over by America. Right now, they're getting fucked over by both at the same time. He's actively telling our European allies, like, you're next. I don't give a shit. I'm not going to help you. You better buy more American weapons pronto. You're on your own. I don't care. This is a change in the trajectory of American foreign policy where we're not going to stop dominating the rest of the planet, obviously. But the ways in which American foreign policy is operated in perpetuity, whether it was the George W. Bush administration or the Obama administration or the Biden administration, American foreign policy has at least always had the image of helping people. America's the world police, but everyone is fine with that because they think like, yeah, ultimately they have our best interest in mind. We're all Western allies. We do it together. He's literally saying like, no, we've never been allies. Like he's dropping the pretext. No more facade. No, know your place. You are a colony. And I think this is genuinely worrisome because I feel as though we're moving into the next phase of the downfall of American empire, where we will be actively and openly way more violent, way more selfish, way more ruthless. And there won't be any massaging of the truth. There won't be any optics for this. There won't be any like, this is the morally righteous position. Here is why. And do all of this like manufactured consent stuff. None of that. Just saying it's a protection racket and I want you to pay up right now. I don't care. There's never been a moment where I have advocated for full and utter humiliating surrender for the Ukrainian population. That's ridiculous. I think that a competent administration that came before this Trump one, the Biden administration, because remember, they were the foreign policy geniuses, right? Should have recognized that the upcoming administration is going to really escalate American foreign policy in a scary direction and not even shelter the world from the most damaging aspects of American imperialism and actively portray it as a good thing, and should have wrapped it up ahead of time, but they didn't. Part of the reason why they didn't is because they don't give a shit. They don't care. They'll say they care on television, but they actually don't care. If they did, they would have wrapped it up. They have all the power. You think Trump is the most powerful American politician?
Will President Putin have to make compromises?
Mr. President, I've got two questions for you. You think ultimately your legacy will be the peacemaker and not the president that led?
This is Marjorie Taylor Greene's boyfriend from literally OAN or Newsmax or one of those outlets, by the way. Those are the journalists who are asking these questions.
This country into another war and ended foreign wars. And I've got a question.
I hope it will. I mean, I hope I'm going to be remembered as a peacemaker. This would be a great thing if we could do this. I'm doing this to save lives more than anything else. Second is to save a lot of money, but I consider that to be far less important. So I hope I'm going to thank you, Brian, for that question. It was a nice question. I hope I'll be known and recognized as a peacemaker. This would be a great thing to solve. This is a very dangerous situation. You know, this could lead to a third world war. This was headed in the wrong direction. That would not have been a good situation. What was your second question?
And my second question for President Zelensky. No. Why don't you wear a suit? Why don't you wear a suit? You're the highest.
That's crazy. Like, Marjorie Taylor Greene's boyfriend is shitting on Zelensky in the Oval Office in front of the entire press pool, and JD Vance is laughing. The American vice president is laughing about it. That's so crazy. What do you mean? Like, I get why it's funny to many people, but this is not the place for this. And they shouldn't be laughing. What the
Next level in this country's office, and you refuse to wear a suit. Just want to see if you do own
Like, getting humiliated like this, like being an American proxy aside, you are no longer just getting humiliated by the president. You're getting humiliated by a presidential dick rider who is like a drunk baboon whose claim to fame is Marjorie Taylor Greene. I'm sorry, that is insane. There is nothing lower than this. Okay, you're getting shitted on by the court jester. Like, yeah, and you can tell it's definitely inappropriate because look at Marco Rubio. Look at Marco Rubio versus this clown ass. Marco Rubio is like, finally, I have secured the reins of the American State Department. And it's under this administration. You know what I mean? I worked my entire life, worked my way up. And here we are. Now I'm in an incredible position of power. And this is the administration that I'm a part of.
You have problems.
A lot of Americans have problems with you not
Really?
respecting.
I don't have
the
such.
office.
I will wear a costume after this war will finish.
Okay.
Yes, maybe one.
Maybe something like this?
like yours.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
That'd be great.
Maybe something better. I don't know. We will see. Maybe something cheaper than. Yeah. Thank you.
President
You got to play the Lindsey Graham clips on Fox News. Dude is a full-on Russian asset now, saying Zelensky should be replaced. Ukrainians reported in December that Putin was going to try and push him out, and then here we are today. Brother, Lindsey Graham is not a Russian asset. He is a Donald Trump asset. Lindsey Graham quite literally used to be the best friend of the maverick John McCain. And then Donald Trump famously said, I like my war heroes that aren't captured. Lindsey Graham was very upset about that. That's his best friend. after John McCain died, Lindsey Graham has been up Trump's asshole, following every single thing that he says and does. Lindsey Graham will say whatever Trump is saying. He will just parrot whatever Trump is saying, but he will try to communicate it in a way that is more professional. Yeah, here, look at this. Big shit from Lindsey Graham on Fox just now. He said he doesn't know if Zelensky is redeemable. The question for me, for the Ukrainian people, I just don't know if Zelensky can ever get you where you want to go with the United States. Either he dramatically changes or you got to get someone new. He wants...
I just think there's no way the president could have signed that deal given the way he and JD and...
Like, this man has been literally up Ukraine's ass before. Like, in the Obama administration, him, John McCain, Amy Klobuchar, they would do these joint, like, foreign policy link-ups in Ukraine. He is pro unlimited arms to Ukraine. So how is he... what is he doing here? What's going on here?
Does that mean you'll provide security guarantees, Mr. President?
I don't want to talk about security yet because I want to get the deal done. You know, you fall into the same trap like everybody else. A million times you say it over and over. I want to get the deal done. Security is so easy. That's about 2% of the problem. I'm not worried about security. I'm worried about getting the deal done. The security is the easy part. Security is very nice. Everybody stopped shooting. And now will Europe put people there? I know France is going to. I know the UK is going to. I know other countries are going to, and they happen to be right next door. We haven't committed, but we could conceive.
Saying security is the least consequential aspect of Russia's invasion of Ukraine is insane. No, man, that's the whole part. That's the entire story. It's not 2%. It's 200% of the story. What are you saying? He wouldn't have to grovel on his hands and knees over here if security was not that big of a issue. Trump is just laying out openly what the relationship between America, the American master, and its foreign puppets has always been, albeit kept usually behind closed doors. No, exactly.
I will say, in speaking to France and in speaking to, and they were here, as you know, last week and just the other day, they have committed to a lot of security. I don't think you're going to need much security. I think once this deal gets done, it's over. Russia's not going to want to go back, and nobody's going to want to go back.
President Zelensky is shaking his head.
When this deal
no
ends, I really believe this deal is going to be over. Question? Yeah, please go ahead.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Thank you so
Mr.
much.
President, thank you.
Thank you.
Macron and Keir Starmer at the White House this past week, both of whom praised your courage and conviction to lead the pathway towards peace.
Yes.
Part of that involved, though, re-engaging Russia in diplomatic relations, something that previous leaders lacked the conviction to do so. What gave you the moral courage and conviction to step forward and lead that?
Well, I love this guy. Who are you with?
One American News, sir.
Well,
Oh my
well,
God!
I like him.
He
One
skipped
American
over
News.
CNN's Caitlin Collins to respond to One American News glazed suckfest. Oh my God. Oh my God. Dude, this is a mockery. Yes, access journalism has been the meta for mainstream press for the past multiple decades at this point. There is no more adversarial journalism, but this is, once again, a new level. This is Modi shit, dude. Dude, they're gonna have the Nelk boys in there. I'm telling you, Nelk boys are gonna be in the building. Nelk boys are gonna be a part of the goddamn press pool, being like, Mr. President, what's your favorite flavor of Zin, sir?
Does a great job. That's I like the question. I think it's a very good question. It's a pathway to peace. It's a pathway to getting something solved. And I feel that as the head of this country, I have an obligation to do that. Plus, you know, we're very much involved. We got involved. It's too bad we got involved because there should have been no involvement because there should have been no war.
Mr. President, if I can answer.
President
Yes, if I
Zelensky.
can answer.
Please,
Sorry.
go ahead.
Please.
And I do like your clothing, by the way.
Yeah, really?
Even though I think he's
Yeah,
a great guy,
yeah.
by the way. I don't know if you two like each other, but you know what? I think
No,
he's dressed. I think he's
why?
dressed
I like this
beautifully.
guy. I don't know
I think
him.
he's dressed beautifully.
So I have more serious things than answer on such
Yes,
question.
that's a
I will
good-
answer on more serious
good
question if
statement.
I can.
Yes.
Yeah. So please, about security guarantees and about just ceasefire. We can't just speak about ceasefire and speak and speak. It will not work. Just ceasefire will not never work because I'm like a president. I have this experience, and not only me. Ukraine before my presidency from the 2014, Putin broken 25 times. 25 times he broken his
Trump doesn't
own
like that.
signature.
Trump does not like that. Don't talk shit on the big dog. Okay. Dude, don't do it. Don't do it. He is not liking that at all. Do not bring that up. Oh my Lord.
Times he broke a ceasefire.
But he never broke to me. He never broke to me.
No, you were the president.
He
were the president. You never broke to me.
Oh, that's it. Nope, it's over. Okay. That's it. That's the breaking point. He broke the ceasefire agreement while you were president. Done. It's done. All of a sudden, okay, Krasnov activation code. Suka bliat. Beep, beep, beep. That right there is the breakout point, because that right there reminded Donald Trump of all the times where he felt wronged by Zelensky. All the times where he's like, who the do you think you are? In some ways, I think that if it wasn't Donald Trump, but still like a brash and bold right-wing reactionary administration, the way that they would handle this, the outcomes would still be the same in terms of like, mineral deals and bringing Russia to the table, whatever. But the ways in which Donald Trump is communicating here is unique to him, because he is an incredibly narcissistic person who also happens to like authoritarian strongmen. He likes Vladimir Putin. He likes Xi Jinping personally. He likes Putin personally. He likes Kim Jong-un personally. He liked Duterte back in the day. He likes those guys. He likes Erdogan. I'm telling you right now, he likes those guys, and he hates Zelensky because he feels wronged by Zelensky. And for this insane reason, he's just like, this over. I'm going to directly shit on you. Anyway, let's continue.
In 2016, you've been the president, Mr. President. You've been the president, but he had, of course, not with you, but he had during those periods, he had conversations with our side. And we had Normandy format, the France, Germany, Ukraine, and Russia. And he broken 25 times. That's why we will never accept just ceasefire. It will not work without security guarantees. Security guarantees, maybe President is right about this document and other, but this document is not enough. Strong army is enough, because his soldiers afraid, Putin's soldiers afraid of our soldiers when we're strong enough. If we are not strong enough, if we are empty, if our storage is empty, we can't defend our land. Today, he knows that we have, all the world knows that we have meeting, yes? Why he's using ballistic? Putin today using ballistic on our hospitals, schools, and etc. Ballistic. So he knows that we are here and that President Trump is really have goodwill to stop this war. And you hear now the president. So why he's using? So he doesn't want to stop. He doesn't want. But I hope that we will do it. Really, we'll do it. Security. When we speak about security guarantees, when the Europeans are ready for contingents, they need USA backstop. If there will not be United States, we will not never have any contingents, strong contingents from the Europeans, because they don't want to divide alliance, connection between the United States and the main and strongest ally and Europeans. And this is crucial, this is important. That's what we want to speak about very much. This is very important. And air defense. So air defense, really, we have big deficit with all these systems, and we need to provide this. We need it very much. Otherwise, Putin will never stop, and will go further and further. He doesn't want. He hates us. It's not about me. He hates Ukrainians. He thinks that we are not a nation. He thinks, and he shared these thoughts. I think maybe with your team also. I don't know, but with all the Europeans, in media, official and not, he always said that there is no such country, such nation, such language, such life like Ukrainian. No, he really doesn't respect all the Ukrainians, and he wants to destroy us. And you are right, Mr. President. That's 2%. This document, maybe other documents, it's a very good start, very good, but it will not enough to stop this person.
Should Russia pay to rebuild Ukraine?
Mr. President, under these...
Should Russia pay to rebuild Ukraine?
They have to pay. This is the rule. This is the rule of the war. This is the rule of the war. During all the centuries, all the history, this is the rule of the war. Who began those...
By the way, every single thing he said in terms of Vladimir Putin not caring about Ukrainian lives or even caring about Russian lives, or even the fact that he is supposed to pay reparations is 100% correct. So there is zero things that he said there that is wrong. The problem here is Donald Trump doesn't like that at all, because in his mind, he thinks that Zelensky should shut the fuck up, bow down, and basically say Vladimir Putin is, his hand was forced to invade Ukraine because of the liberal administration's incompetence or something. I don't know. I suspect that that's what he wants.
Pay.
Do you agree,
This
President
is the rule.
Trump?
Putin began this war. He has to pay all money for innovation. He has to pay. Of course, some Russian assets, what we have in Europe, about 300 billion, we can use them. We can use for innovation and buy military support from the United States also. We can do it, but it's not enough. It's not enough.
I asked this question that you didn't like
a trilateral summit
because I wanted to know.
Brian, please, wait 1 second.
I asked this question that you didn't like because I wanted to know if you want to position yourself in the middle between Russia and
Yes.
Ukraine, or on the Ukraine side.
I'm in the middle. I want to solve this thing. I'm for both. I want to get it solved. And it's wonderful to speak badly about somebody else, but I want to get it solved. If we can solve it, great. If we can't solve it, they're going to have to fight it out, and who knows what's going to happen. But I want to see it get solved.
May I follow up? One more question about U.S. troops in Europe. After Russian invasion of Ukraine, your predecessor sent additional troops to Eastern Europe, including Poland, my country. Yeah. Are you committed to keeping these troops on the eastern flank of NATO in the future?
I'm very committed to Poland. I think Poland has really stepped up and done a great job for NATO. As you know, they paid more than they had to. They are one of the finest groups of people I've ever known. I'm very committed to Poland.
What about Baltics?
Poland's in a tough neighborhood, you know.
What about the Baltics?
Dude, that's a crazy thing to say next to Zelensky. Yeah, Poland is in a very tough neighborhood. I'm sorry, dude, but the only thing stopping any kind of empire action coming from Russia at this stage is just straightforward their inability to do so. They just can't do it militarily. I mean, look, with enough American weapons and American training and Western weapons and Western training, they did successfully stop the further incursion of Russia. Every step of the way, there should have been a ceasefire, security assurances, a ceasefire, and normalization of relations, all this stuff. But goddamn, dude, it is. I said this before. America will just sell you down the river every single time. Holy moly. Why Russia was ceasefire? What do you mean? Do you think that there is no attrition on the Russian side? Are we crazy? Is that what you think is going on? This is why I said if Ukraine had more people that they could just throw into the front lines, I don't think Donald Trump would be pushing for a ceasefire like this. I think that Donald Trump, no one would be pushing for a ceasefire in the way that Trump is pushing for a ceasefire. But if the end of whatever happens in Ukraine was always going to be dictated by the front lines.
Mr. President,
please go ahead.
Ask you about the agreement again today. What changed between the first time that Secretary Bessent gave President Zelensky the agreement and today for the signing?
We made a deal. So
what was the difference? Was there a deciding factor?
I'm a business person. We made a deal. That's what changed.
A lot of those minerals.
I didn't think we were going to make a deal, and we ended up making the deal, so that changed.
Mr. President, when and how do you envision a trilateral summit with President Zelensky and Putin?
I don't know, but they don't like each other. I can tell you that. Okay, they do not like each other. This is not a love match. And
I wonder if people will recognize why I say America bad all the time and then describe the steps in great detail as to why America bad in terms of foreign policy all the time. Maybe they'll come to that conclusion as it's unfolding in front of our eyes. You know what I mean? This is literally the 20-year process between Afghan Civil War, Operation Cyclone, Afghan Civil War, USSR invasion of Afghanistan, and then all the way to 9/11, except it's happening in a matter of years, in such a shorter time frame.
Mr. President, would you be willing to visit Ukraine, maybe Kiev or Odessa, which is going to be at the rear of the Black Sea?
It was my question.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I don't want to talk about Odessa now. Let's not talk about Odessa. I want to talk about making a deal, getting peace. We don't have to talk about Odessa, but a lot of cities have been destroyed. There are a lot of cities that are not recognizable. There's not a building standing.
No,
and a lot of things have to happen.
You have to come and to look. No. We have very good cities. Yes, a lot of things have been destroyed, but mostly cities alive, and people work, and children go to school. Sometimes it's very difficult. Sometimes closer to front line, children have to go to underground schools or online. But we live. Ukraine is fighting, and Ukraine lives. This is very important. And maybe it's Putin is sharing this information that he destroyed us.
On the minerals deal, Mr. President, some of those minerals are in the east of Ukraine, not far from the front lines and in areas that Russia has occupied. Will you direct President Putin to withdraw his forces from those areas if there's U.S. interest there?
Well, we'll take a look at the time. We have a lot of area. It's a very big area we're talking about, so we'll take a look. I'll study that and I'll see.
And who would protect those minerals if they are U.S. interests? Would that be Ukrainian forces, European forces?
The agreement will protect them.
U.S. forces?
Agreement, yeah, we're signing an agreement.
Right, but what if Russia tries to invade or there's Russian aggression in those spots? What would
I
you do
just told you I don't think that's going to happen. And if that were going to happen, I wouldn't make a deal. If I thought that was going to happen, I wouldn't make a deal.
Some people may wonder why.
They ought to focus on CNN on survival, not asking me these ridiculous questions.
Why you have confidence that Putin won't violate a deal?
Focus on surviving, because CNN's got such low ratings. I don't think they're going to survive.
People will ask why you have confidence Putin won't violate the deal.
I already mentioned Poland.
He's dunking on CNN as an institution. Like, that is
for decades. And now I'm talking with my friends in Poland, and they are worried that you align yourself too much with Putin. What's your message for them?
Well, if I didn't align myself with both of them, you'd never have a deal. You want me to say really terrible things about Putin and then say, "Hi, Vladimir, how are we doing on the deal?" That doesn't work that way. I'm not aligned with Putin. I'm not aligned with anybody. I'm aligned with the United States of America and for the good of the world. I'm aligned with the world, and I want to get this thing over with. You see the hatred he's got for Putin. It's very tough for me to make a deal with that kind of hate. He's got tremendous.
Yeah, I wonder why he hates Putin, man. Come on, dude. What the fuck? Zelensky, why do you hate Putin? Why won't you align with him? Marco looks like a little kid after his first communion, waiting to take pictures after mass. Yeah, little Marco is sitting there just being like, I always dreamed of getting to this position. I just never thought that the monkey's paw would, curl and offer this position to me under this administration. He could have been doing this for Jeb Bush, which the outcome overall would not be all that different. It's just that he wouldn't have to sit there and have to play catch up and have to play defense for Trump's insane, unforced errors over and over again.
And his hatred. And I understand that, but I can tell you the other side isn't exactly in love with, him either. So it's not a question of alignment. I'm aligned with the world. I want to get the thing set. I'm aligned with Europe. I want to see if we can get this thing done. You want me to be tough? I could be tougher than any human being you've ever seen. I'd be so tough. But you're never going to get a deal that way. So that's the way it goes. All right, one more question.
I want to respond to this. So look, for 4 years...
Shut up! Who are you? I have no idea. Who is this man? Whose man's is this? Who is this guy?
In the United States of America, we had a president who stood up at press conferences and talked tough about Vladimir Putin, and then Putin invaded Ukraine and destroyed a significant chunk of the country. The path to peace and the path to prosperity is maybe engaging in diplomacy. We tried the pathway of Joe Biden, of thumping our chest and pretending.
Okay, by the way, the reason, I'm dunking on Jorkin the penis Vance over here, but, Jedediah Vance. But this would be the normal Republican way of having this conversation. And even then, it wouldn't even go this far into like dunking on Zelensky.
That the president of the United States' words mattered more than the president of the United States' actions. What makes America a good country is America engaging in diplomacy.
But because he's still glazing Trump, he's going to still, obviously say some unhinged shit in a second.
President Trump is doing.
Can I ask you?
Sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So he occupied our parts, big parts of Ukraine, part of East and Crimea. So he occupied it on 2014. So during a lot of years, so I'm not speaking about just Biden, but those time was Obama, then President Obama, then President Trump, then President Biden, now the President Trump, and God bless, now President Trump will stop him. But during 2014, nobody stopped him. He just occupied and took. He killed people. You know what the contact line?
2015.
2014.
2014 and 2014.
2014.
Yeah. So
I was,
he killed,
I was not here.
Yeah, but
That's exactly
but,
right.
I do still sometimes get surprised by how little Trump knows. And one of the funniest parts of this was when he literally said, like, what is AUKUS? Like the other day. Bro, you were the president for 4 years. You're the president again. Yesterday, a journalist asked what's the latest on AUKUS, and he didn't know what it was. And this is yet another moment where he's like 2014, 2015. Well, I wasn't president. Like that is truly, truly incredible.
Yes, but during 2014 till 2022, the situation the same. The people have been dying on the contact line. Nobody stopped him. You know that we had conversations with him, a lot of conversation, my bilateral conversation, and we signed with him, me, like a new president. In 2019, I signed with him the deal. I signed with him, Macron and Merkel, we signed ceasefire. Ceasefire, all of them told me that he will never go. We signed him with gas contract. Yes, but after that, he broken this ceasefire. He killed our people and he didn't exchange prisoners. We signed the exchange of prisoners, but he didn't do it. What kind of diplomacy, JD, you are speaking about? What do you mean?
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you are not strong...
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the President for trying to bring an end to this.
You should be thanking the president. God damn, dude. God damn.
Have you ever been to Ukraine that you say what problems we have?
I have been to.
Come once.
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is.
He's like, I'm on Reddit. He's like, excuse me, I've watched it. I've watched and seen the stories. By the way, this is where Republicans are OP. Can you imagine Kamala Harris saying some shit like this? Not about Zelensky, but like about when a reporter says like, why haven't you been to the border? And she turns around and goes like, I have watched and seen stories on Instagram. They would literally make shish kebab out of her. Republicans would just destroy her. But when Republicans say it, everyone's like, hell yeah, that's pure projection of strength, sir. That's right.
Bring people, you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people into your military?
We have problems.
And do you think that it's respectful to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems. Even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless.
God bless.
You don't know that. Oh man, it's getting contentious.
You will not have a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because
I'm
you're in no
answering on this
position to
question.
dictate that.
That's
Remember
exactly
this.
what
I'm not
You're in
dictating.
no position to dictate what we're going to feel.
You
We're
will-
going to feel very
you will
good.
feel influenced.
We're going to feel very good and
telling
very
you,
strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about it.
From the very beginning of the war.
You're not in a good position.
They're mad that Ukrainian soldiers could not survive getting shot or getting shelled. Like, is that what the problem is here? Like, how are you going to get mad at this dude, bro? Beyond the fact that it's pure partisanship. Ukraine backed the wrong partisan horse in this process. And for Trump, who is a simpleton, it is not seen as like a uniparty objective for the State Department and for the military industrial complex. For him, it's just like Ukraine is a libtard shit, okay? Ukraine is liberal nonsense. I don't care. And they also did not help me when I demanded that they give me blackmail on Joe Biden. So now you're cooked. I will never forgive and I will never forget. That's his assessment here. You will feel in time, is Zelensky threatening the U.S.? No, I get what he's trying to say. He's trying to do the Israel line. You know, Israel is the first line of defense against scary Muslims. That's why it's a very important ally for us. Same goes for Ukraine. Ukraine is the first line of defense against scary Russian forces overtaking the entirety of Europe. Communism, that sort of thing. Under normal circumstances, this conversation would not be as contentious because the contentious moments would be behind closed doors. It would not be in front of a press pool. I need you to understand this. The major difference here is Donald Trump is actively just being like, I don't give a fuck about soft power. I don't give a fuck about diplomacy. I don't even care about making it seem as though I'm in line with like Ukrainian emancipation or any of those interests. I don't care about the morality of it. I'm America. You're going to shut the fuck up and you're going to do my bidding. Because like he thanked over and over again the Trump administration. Like what more can he do? What more can he do? Under normal circumstances, these contentious moments like Nikki Haley would never call Zelensky a dictator. President Nikki Haley wouldn't have this moment. But if you think President Nikki Haley would not also actively work on the mineral deal and actively work to seize more Ukrainian assets, you'd be wrong. That's precisely the reason why Biden was also trying to cut those deals as well. But this difference in attitude, this openness about American ruthlessness, this openness for American brutality is a change of pace, and it's not simply left alone on the optics front. This actually means that America is just no longer trying to even do soft power under the Trump administration.
You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having cards. But right now, you don't. Yeah, you're playing cards. You're playing cards. You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country. That's back to you. Far more than a lot of people said they should have.
Have you said thank you
once? This entire meeting? No, in this entire meeting, have you said thank you? You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for the United States of America and the president who's trying to save your country.
Please, you think that if you will...
Bro, they're going to kill him. They're going to kill him, dude. Dude, I'm telling you right now. Okay, look. I think he's going to go back and some Azov freak is just going to kill him with a black sun tattoo, and then they're going to be actively aligned with the Trump admin. I don't know how that allegiance works, but this is insane, dude. This is actually insane. They're just gonna let it happen. First of all, I need you to understand. Right now, the entire coalition forces within Ukrainian boundaries are kept together because they all want to actively fight against Russia, understandably. But it's not like these guys are all fond of one another. Zelensky is Jewish. There's a lot of fucking neo-Nazi forces out there who have gotten even more radicalized in the process, understandably. As when you get invaded, as I correctly predicted, you don't end up denazifying a country, you end up Nazifying the country. The most nationalist paramilitaries will be seen as the bravest, boldest warriors, the emancipatory forces. I'm worried that one of them is just going to fucking murk this dude. Putin never said he was denazifying Ukraine. Yes, he did. What are you talking about? He said it over and over again. It was fucking bullshit.
Speak very loudly about the war.
He's not speaking loudly. He's not speaking loudly. Your country is in big trouble.
Can I answer?
Wait a minute. No. You've done a lot of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not winning. You're not winning this. You have a damn good chance of coming out okay because of us.
Mr. President, we are staying in our country, staying strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been alone, and we are thankful. I said thanks
you haven't
in
been
this
alone.
cabinet,
you
and not only
alone.
in this cabinet.
We gave you, through this stupid president, $350 billion.
You voted
we gave
for
you
your
military equipment, and you men are brave,
president.
but they had to use our military.
What about
if you didn't have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
In 3 days, I heard it from Putin. In 3 days. This is something
maybe
new.
Less.
In 2 weeks, of course, yes.
It's going to be a very hard thing to do business like.
God damn. This is the most. this is crazy. This is the craziest shit. I think this might be the craziest moment of the Trump administration so far, and it will most likely be topped tomorrow or the day after. We're a month and 8 days in. This is insane. We're not even 2 months in. This is 1 month in, dude. This is a shockingly bad display. A shockingly bad display. It is an active cuckening happening in real time.
Like this, I tell you.
To say thank you.
I said a lot of times thank you to American people.
Accept that there are disagreements, and let's go litigate those disagreements rather than trying to fight it out in the American media when you're wrong. We know that you're wrong.
But you see, I think it's good for the American people to see what's going on.
I understand, sir.
I think it's very important. That's why I kept this going so long. You have to be thankful. You don't have the cards.
Thankful.
You're buried there. Your people are dying. You're running low on soldiers. Listen, you're running low on soldiers. It would be a damn good thing. And then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go and I wanted this. Look. If you could get a ceasefire right now, I tell you, you take.
Like, even if this conversation was taking place behind closed doors, where Ukraine basically got geared up with all of the European support that it got into thinking that there is like still a process where they can continue defending the existing Ukrainian territory and maybe even cut side deals with European allies to forcibly send back the Ukrainian men, like the refugees that live in Europe, in an effort to basically bring up their ranks so that they can utilize the existing weapons that are being shipped in from the pre-existing security cooperations, pre-existing weapons deals. Even if there was a back and forth for that reason, behind closed doors, the fact that this is happening in broad daylight in front of a press pool, live streamed to the entire world, is legitimately shocking. Now, every single European leader, understandably, is going to come out against Donald Trump and come out in favor of Zelensky in this process. But ultimately, considering America's position as the leader of the Western coalition, the Western forces, as the hegemonic superpower, all of those leaders have actively said, we will defend Ukraine, but it doesn't really matter because if America doesn't actually follow through on security commitments, then us sending forces will not do anything. Keir Starmer has said that. I don't know if the EU in and of itself, especially when Trump is also looking to make Europe poorer with its tariffs, is going to be able to have active security commitments that they follow through on with Ukraine without American military support. If you guys have a bit of guts, you would say something to Trump and Vance. No, exactly. Dude, I don't know what the is going on. I feel like Trump is just like, I don't know how Trump is going to dig himself out of this in terms of like American standing with the rest of America's vassal states in Western Europe. If all you do in the Trump admin, the reasonable heads in the Trump admin, the reasonable hawks in the Trump admin are constantly playing catch up and playing defense for the insane shit that Trump says, you can get away with that. But when you turn around and renege on all of the economic harm that you put Europe through by forcibly telling them to cut their existing energy deals that they had with Russia as a consequence of Russia's invasion of Ukraine, and then turning around and being like, actually, all of that, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to say about it? Like, what is Europe going to do? What can Europe do? Let's say they want to rebuild their own militaries. There is so much runway. There is at least a decade of industrial buildup that must happen for them to actually get to a point where they can competently defend Ukraine or even themselves without the United States of America. Like, the second largest standing military in NATO after the United States of America is not France or Germany or any number of different countries. France's NATO allegiances have always been on shaky ground regardless. It's Turkey. It's not Poland. It's Turkey. That's the second largest military in NATO. It's Turkey. And we all know the Turkish-European relations, okay? It's just like, this is totally insane.
Take it so the bullets stop flying and your men stop getting killed.
Of course we want to stop the war.
But you're saying you don't want a ceasefire?
But I said to you,
I want a ceasefire.
With guarantees.
Because you'll get a ceasefire faster than an agreement.
Ask our people about ceasefire, what they think.
That wasn't with me.
For you what
that wasn't with me. That was with a guy named Biden who was not a smart person.
Bro, I'm serious right now, straight up. If I'm a European leader, I'm learning Mandarin. I'm learning Mandarin Peranto. It's time to go to the Chinese league, all right? The NBA is not cutting it. You're not cutting it in the NBA. Get ready to learn Chinese, Ursula von der Leyen, EU High Representative for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy. Kasia Kallas says, Ukraine is Europe. We stand by Ukraine. We will step up our support to Ukraine so that they can continue to fight to back the aggressor. Today it became clear that the free world needs a new leader. It's up to us Europeans to take the challenge. I will cop to one thing. I did not think that Donald Trump would actually actively undermine NATO. And I think he is doing that. And I think he's not even doing that because he just has like a legitimate plan to dismantle NATO piece by piece. I think he's doing that because he just keeps flying off the handles here. And he does not know how to behave like a normal politician. Straight up, pure ego, and also dick riders that are supposed to be the normalizing voice in the room. But even he's got the long red tie. Look at him. He looks like it looks like Bring Your Child to Work Day. He just looks like a fucking fatter Eric Trump or Donald Trump Jr. in the room and not coked out.
President. It was your president.
Excuse me. That was with Obama, who gave you sheets, and I gave you javelins.
Yes.
I gave you the javelins to take out all those tanks. Obama.
I've often made fun of France because obviously, you know, they deserve it. But goddamn, dude, making sure that you have your own nuclear arsenal and pulling out of NATO before and having a consistently contentious relationship with NATO. What did they know? What did they know?
Obama gave you sheets. In fact, the statement is Obama gave sheets and Trump gave javelins. You got to be more thankful because let me tell you, you don't have the cards. With us, you have the cards. But without us, you don't have any cards.
One more question to Mr. Vice President. I'm sorry.
It's going to be a tough deal to make because the attitudes have to change.
What if Russia breaks ceasefire? What if Russia breaks peace talks? What do we do then? I understand that.
By the way, low key, HasanAbi doctrine, don't give up the nukes, is literally the reason why this is happening. I know that you'll say, oh, those were USSR's nukes. They didn't have the active launch codes or anything like that. Yada, yada, yada. Doesn't matter. But I will repeat it for those of you who do not know. Rule 1, get nukes. Rule 2, do not give up the nukes. Rule 3, if you're accused of having nukes, drop everything immediately and find some nukes. Straight up. HasanAbi Doctrine, a guide for nation building. Yeah, do not give up the family atomics, dude. Yeah, also the other HasanAbi Doctrine that I'm that I'm putting on here is time to learn Mandarin. Don't give up the nukes, get the nukes, learn Chinese. Can you elaborate on the third rule? Yeah, it's called the Libya rule, okay? It's called the rule of Libya. Look at Libya. Look at the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. You will understand the difference between the two countries, okay? Or Iran, even. Or Iraq, but like, that's a little different, you know? Also referred to as the WMD rule, exactly. Weapons of mass destruction, yellow cake scandal.
Russia breaks the ceasefire.
What if anything? What if a bomb drops on your head right now? Okay? What if they broke it? I don't know. They broke it with Biden because Biden, they didn't respect him. They didn't respect Obama. They respect me. Let me tell you, Putin went through a hell of a lot with me. He went through a phony witch hunt where they used him and Russia. Russia. You ever hear of that deal? That was a phony Hunter Biden, Joe Biden scam. Hillary Clinton, Shifty Adam Schiff. It was a Democrat scam. And he had to go through that. And he did go through it. We didn't end up in a war. And he went through it. He was accused of all that stuff. He had nothing to do with it. It came out of Hunter Biden's bathroom. It came out of Hunter Biden's bedroom. It was disgusting. And then they said, oh, the laptop from hell was made by Russia.
I'm sorry, what is going on? Ah! What is happening? He's crashing out.
All I can say is this. He might have broken deals with Obama and Bush, and he might have broken them with Biden. He did, maybe. Maybe he didn't. I don't know what happened. But he didn't break them with me. He wants to make a deal. I don't know if you can make a deal. The problem is I've empowered you to be a tough guy. And I don't think you'd be a tough guy without the United States. And your people are very brave. But you're either going to make a deal or we're out. And if we're out, you'll fight it out. I don't think it's going to be pretty, but you'll fight it out. But you don't have the cards. But once we sign that deal, you're in a much better position. But you're not acting at all thankful. And that's not a nice thing. I'll be honest, that's not a nice thing. All right.
That is 49 minutes of Kino in terms of watching America almost single-handedly over the course of like a 90-second back and forth completely changed the trajectory. We have accelerated. Here's what happened after on CNN. Trump huddled with his key advisors immediately afterwards inside the Oval. According to a White House official, Trump consulted Vance, Rubio, Bessent, etc. That was when Trump decided that Zelensky was not in a place to negotiate. He directed Secretary Rubio and his national security advisor, Mike Waltz, to deliver the message. It was time for Zelensky to leave. The Ukrainians were holding nearby in a separate room. That's standard for foreign visits. Typically, they reconvened for lunch, but the Ukrainians would not be dining at the White House. As the prepared food sat nearly on carts in a hallway, the Ukrainians were instructed to leave. The White House official said that the Ukrainians wanted to continue the talks, but they were told no. Zelensky left shortly thereafter. Here's what one White House advisor said, by the way, to Dave Weigel. What did y'all think America first meant? Vibes, papers, essays? Now, what's crazy about this is that they're still trying, one, they're memeing through it, which is insane. But what is crazy about this is that not only was this spectacle incredibly embarrassing for the United States, but it also is not, I wouldn't say this is in the interest of the American military-industrial complex. The trajectory of the Ukrainian ceasefire process is dictated on the battlefield. So some of the things that Donald Trump was saying, which he's not supposed to be saying out loud, he's supposed to be privately conveying by way of Marco Rubio, and I can't believe I'm saying this, maybe Pete Hegseth, but he is also not the right guy to convey this message, though. It's supposed to happen behind closed doors in terms of like, hey, we have all the intel. I'm telling you right now, you do not have standing in this position. Like you do not have enough people to continue fighting against Russia. This is why we're trying to, put a stop to it. And in the process, because we're the big dogs in the room, you're going to give us, all of your natural resources or the remainder of your, publicly owned sectors that we've gutted, and we're going to pick it apart for pennies on the dollar with foreign capital. That conversation is not supposed to happen in broad daylight. That conversation is supposed to happen behind closed doors, and then it's supposed to be leaked to the media, and then I cover it, and then all of the NATO Andes and whatnot come and yell at me and say I'm an Alex Jones style conspiracy theorist. But because of Trump, it's happening in broad daylight, and it's happening in a way that might actually damage the ceasefire negotiations. Like, even if Donald Trump wants to force Ukraine's hand to get to a ceasefire, he's not supposed to say it like this. And I don't think this was a well thought out thing that Donald Trump did. He's just a narcissistic child. And instead of like actively trying to push Ukraine into some kind of negotiated ceasefire where they will put an end to this bloodshed, he is undermining the own ceasefire agreement that he could have possibly put together. So he's getting in his own way this way as well. Background of what just went down per White House official. After the contentious Oval Office meeting that played out in front of reporters, Zelensky and the Ukrainians went into a separate room, standard, while Trump huddled with his advisors. At that point, Trump decided that he didn't feel Zelensky was ready to negotiate and that the conversation wouldn't be productive, the official said. Trump posted a statement on Truth Social, and then Rubio and Waltz then informed Zelensky that he was being asked to leave and the negotiations were over for the day. The White House official added that this was not planned in advance or part of a broader strategy, but just simply how the day played out. Oh my God. I truly thought that what would have happened today initially, they do a little back and forth, and then they sign the mineral agreement. A week later, Trump comes out with the, continued support for Ukraine tweet, whatever while also simultaneously saying, but obviously Ukraine's manpower is exhausted and we want to put an end to this. But the weapons transfers that we are going to engage with are obviously going to be a part of a long-standing security assurance for Ukraine as we, pick it apart for scraps. That's what I thought would have happened. And I think that's what was supposed to happen. But, Donald Trump is insane. Zelensky didn't read the room. It's his fault. No, dude. No. That is crazy. Putting this on Zelensky is insane. I'm sorry. You are out of your mind, dude. What are you, Lindsey Graham? No. There is nothing he could have done in that situation. Nothing. This is madness. I think Trump associates Brandon with Ukraine so much that he might just leave them on the dust. I think there are still larger powers at play here. For example, the military-industrial complex and what kind of benefits they get out of this, or even foreign capital. If that actually gets in the way of, I don't know, foreign capital extracting these resources from Ukraine, then they're not going to like that. They're going to tell Trump to back down. They're going to tell Trump to come back to the table. If Ukraine has the capacity to defend itself, or at least has enough manpower to continue this for at least a little bit longer, then we'll use it. We'll pump it. We'll pump it with weapons. Because those weapons aren't going there for true emancipatory purpose. That much is clear. It's going there because it's a way for the military-industrial complex to continue making money. The reason why he had to do this, by the way, the reason why he had to like get humiliated like this by not just Trump, J.D. Vance, but also that baboon from One America News Network or whatever, who was like, why don't you wear a suit? Do you own a suit? Like, all that stuff is ridiculous. Like, it's a ritualistic humiliation that you're not supposed to put your ally through. It's especially if you have any interest in maintaining any kind of diplomacy or any kind of soft power whatsoever. He was not humiliated. Why would you use that word, Lamau? He was not humiliated? What do you mean? It wasn't even Trump yelling at him. It was a random Newsmax guy. Are you kidding me? If he was not humiliated, think about whether or not this conversation would take place with Benjamin Netanyahu. Put Benjamin Netanyahu in that position. You know what happens to that journalist? He gets assassinated. Donald Trump literally pulled the chair out for Benjamin Netanyahu and pushed it in. Think about that. In terms of America behaving like this, they should never behave like this to anyone, really. They were yelling at him, and J.D. Vance directly said, why don't you say thank you? After Zelensky had said thank you like a million times over.